In 1968, two epidemiologists appeared on a TV show, warning of potential dangers to come. One was concerned about the spread of new viruses due to increased travel via airplanes, while the other believed that humanity would always find a way to defeat viruses and that they should instead be more worried about the rise of fungi. At the time, fungi were considered a minor threat, only capable of controlling animals. But with the effects of climate change on the horizon, the possibility of fungi evolving to the point of controlling humans couldn't be ruled out. Unfortunately, neither the host nor the other epidemiologist took this warning seriously. Fast forward to 2003, and Sarah is starting her day with a special breakfast for her father Joel's birthday. Her uncle Tommy joins them, and as they eat, they hear reports of disturbances in Indonesia. Before leaving for school, Sarah sneaks into Joel's drawers and takes his broken watch and some money to fix it, but she can't help but be curious about a hidden knife. As they leave the house, they run into their neighbor Danny, taking care of his Nana who is in a catatonic state. Sarah visits her neighbors, and Danny's wife Connie shares some cookies while Sarah pets the dog Mercy. Sarah comments that she saw lots of police and trouble on the road on her way here, but Connie hasn't heard anything on the news. The house has a big DVD collection and Sarah is so busy browsing it that she doesn't notice Nana having a strange kind of seizure, even if she isn't supposed to be able to move. Sarah chooses one of the movies to borrow, and on her way out, she notices Mercy staring at Nana curiously. When she goes home, Sarah notices a bunch of army planes flying really low over the town. Later she hears on TV that there has been a rash of violent incidents across the city, but the police blame it on a new illegal upper hitting the streets. The TV is quickly turned off when Joel comes home and Sarah gives him the fixed clock as a birthday present. The movie she borrowed from Connie is also one of Joel's favorites, so they decide to watch it together as part of the birthday celebration, although Sarah falls asleep. Out of the sudden, Tommy calls Joel to ask him to bail him out of jail. He got arrested when he was in a bar and some guy suddenly went crazy, starting a fight just because. Joel puts Sarah in bed and leaves in his truck. 3 hours later, Sarah wakes up when she hears lots of noises outside, helicopters, screaming, and general disturbances. She leaves the bedroom and when she can't find her dad, she turns on the TV, only to find a national alert signal telling citizens to stay indoors. Suddenly a thud at the window startles Sarah. It's Mercy, who is incredibly scared. Sarah goes outside to calm him and tries to take him home, but Mercy whines and struggles against her hold until he frees himself from the collar and runs away. Not understanding why the dog would hate his own home, Sarah goes to check on the neighbors and finds the door open. She enters the house, and because all lights are out, Sarah doesn't notice the blood on the floor until she steps on it. The blood trail comes from Danny, who is wounded on the floor and begging for help. Sarah comes closer thinking he had an accident and is shocked to find Nana feeding on a dead Connie. Nana has some weird fungi coming out of her mouth and when she notices Sarah, she tries to attack her too, so Sarah runs out of the house. At that moment, Joel and Tommy arrive in the truck. Nana is coming out of the house too, and Joel doesn't hesitate to kill her, explaining they've seen people losing it like this downtown and the only solution is to protect themselves. The family leaves in the truck, and Joel tells Sarah that they say it's some kind of virus or parasite. It's people in the city that got affected, and their neighbors took Nana to the hospital in the city when she needed her checkups, meaning she probably got it there. On their way out of town, they see a house on fire and people asking for a ride, but Joel tells Tommy to ignore them. When they finally approach the highway, they find everyone else had the same idea as them and a traffic jam has taken over the road. Tommy tries to drive through the field, but the army has already arrived and is now blocking the area. They turn the truck around to cross the town and go north. Hopefully they find a clear road to escape to Mexico. The army planes start flying lower than ever, and the downtown area is a mess. People are scared and trying to run away, not leaving room for cars to pass through. Tommy tries to go back, but the truck is now surrounded, and to make matters worse the army is here to drop a bomb. The truck is hit by the explosion and the family gets knocked out for a few seconds. When Sarah wakes up, she finds her ankle is hurt, and Joel has to carefully help her out of the truck. As the brothers stood in the alley, a car suddenly collided with a truck, causing a raging fire that blocked their path. In the chaos, they made a plan to meet outside of town. Joel grabbed Sarah and they quickly made their way through the streets, which were now overrun with infected individuals. They were relentlessly pursued by one infected man, but Joel managed to outrun him by darting into buildings and houses. The chase continued until they finally made it back outside. But just as they thought they had escaped, the infected man lunged at them. Luckily, at that moment, a soldier appeared and shot the attacker. However, the soldier had orders to kill all survivors, regardless of their health status. Joel managed to dodge the bullets, but Sarah was hit. In the end, it was Tommy who saved them by taking out the soldier. Joel was devastated as he tried to save Sarah, but she passed away in his arms. 20 years have passed since Boston became a quarantined wasteland, its borders guarded by the army. Life in this place is a mere existence with people doing the little jobs given to them by the government. But one fateful morning, a lost child arrives seeking asylum, and after undergoing checks, the testing machine indicates the child is infected. With heavy hearts, the kid is given a lethal injection and sent to be disposed of with the other infected bodies. Joel, who works at the disposal site, has grown accustomed to the task and even takes on additional jobs to make ends meet. In secret, he smuggles illegal goods and has a soldier who's a client. The soldier tells Joel of a vehicle he can purchase and warns him to be careful as a resistance group, the Fireflies, is causing chaos in the city. The truck won't have a battery, but Joel's friend Tess is negotiating with a dealer to acquire one. However, things take a turn for the worse when the dealer sells the battery to someone else and retains Tess's money, leading to a confrontation that results in her being beaten. Joel and the dealer are in the midst of a heated argument when a sudden explosion outside disrupts everything, destroying the wall and hitting everyone inside. With the blast still ringing in her ears, Tess sees her chance to flee and takes it, dashing through the hole in the wall left by the explosive-rigged army truck. The alarm blares, ordering the citizens to evacuate, but as soon as Tess rounds the corner, she's thrust into the crossfire between the Fireflies and the army, exchanging shots in the heart of the city. Tess raises her hands high, pleading with the soldiers that she's no Firefly, but it's no use. She's arrested on the spot. As chaos reigns outside, Ellie is still captive, locked to a heater for weeks, pretending to be someone named Veronica to avoid suspicion. Every time a doctor checks in on her, she offers up sass, tired of being poked and prodded every day without any explanation. Joel seeks solace in a friend's radio setup, where people pay to send messages out into the world. He barters the soldiers' cigarettes for news of Tommy, his brother who fled to Wyoming years prior. But today, there's no news, and Joel grows restless, seeking the location of the Wyoming Tower. His friend warns of the dangers lurking in the open country, from infected to slavers, but Joel is undeterred. He heads home to retrieve his hidden cache of escape supplies and begins mapping out a plan to reach the Wyoming Tower. Drunk and maudlin, Joel wears his broken watch, a reminder of his daughter. He eventually falls asleep, and when Tess returns, battered and wounded, she simply lies down beside him, too exhausted to wake him. The next morning, Joel sees Tess' injuries and listens as she recounts her harrowing encounter with the dealer. Joel's desperation to find Tommy drives him into a rage, and Tess vows to track down the thief who stole the battery. Meanwhile, the leader of the Fireflies, Marlene, faces a rebellion from her followers who demand freedom and democracy, questioning the senseless bombing of army targets and guarding of a mysterious girl. Marlene reveals their true objective: to escort Ellie West to the radio tower in Salem. She gains her followers' loyalty by showing them the importance of Ellie. At the market, Joel and Tess pay informants for information on the battery's location and plan to storm the building and retrieve it by force. Meanwhile, Ellie persists in trying to break free from her chains, until Marlene arrives and frees her, revealing she was the one who saved Ellie's life and knows her true identity. Marlene explains the dangerous secret behind Ellie's significance and forbids her from telling anyone to protect her life. The duo navigate the city using old subway tunnels, encountering a rotting infected body that resembles a mutated monster. As they approach the building where the battery is kept, they are met with the ominous scent of gunpowder and the sight of blood dripping on the floor, leaving them uneasy and on edge. Ole and Tess storm into the dealer's lair, only to find a gruesome scene: the dealer and his men lying dead, the battery shattered to pieces. But before they can fully grasp the situation, they hear a rustling from the other room. Joel cautiously approaches, only to be ambushed by a wild-eyed Ellie, who he quickly pushes away. With Ellie's knife still underfoot, Joel turns his attention to Marlene and her companion, who he accuses of being the ones behind the battery scam. Marlene, however, has no time for accusations and urgently pleads with Joel to escort Ellie out of the quarantine zone that very night. As they await the cover of darkness, they seek refuge at Joel's apartment. As Ellie explores her surroundings, she stumbles upon a book with a mysterious code, hinting at Joel's smuggling activities. But when she presses him for answers, Joel stays tight-lipped and chooses to nap until it's time to leave. Hours later, Joel awakes to hear Ellie musing about finally seeing what lies beyond the wall, as she's never left the city in her life. He wonders if she's the daughter of some important leader, but Ellie keeps her secrets to herself. As Ellie recounts to Joel the prank she pulled, revealing her deductions about the secret smuggling code, the tension in the room mounts. An 80s song on the radio means trouble is brewing. Suddenly, Tess bursts in, declaring it's time to leave the quarantine city. Despite the army's curfew patrols, Tess and Joel have a secret smuggling route that will get them outside the border. Ellie can hardly contain her excitement as she experiences the open sky for the first time in her life. The trio tiptoes past army lights, until fatefully, they cross paths with a soldier. Refusing Tess's bribe, he threatens Ellie with his testing machine, revealing she's infected. Joel's memories of losing Sarah flood back as he fiercely fights the soldier, ultimately ending his life. In shock, Tess reveals that Ellie is immune and won't turn. As the army closes in, they leave the city behind and escape through a hole in the fence. But as they escape, the radio begins to play an 80s hit, "Never Let Me Down Again," serving as a haunting reminder of the dangers they've left behind. I just want to take a moment to thank y'all for tuning in and watching. It means the world to me. Y'all are the reason I do what I do, and I can't thank y'all enough for the love and support. Until next time, stay awesome, stay strong, and I'll see y'all soon.